Hey guys, today I'll be sculpting some mug characters. Basically just some characters in mugs. I'm thinking about making two little plump ogres in love. So here's the teacups I'll be using, a blue and a pink. I figured they could be like a girl and a boy, a couple of lovebirds. I made a quick, really rough outline of what I wanted my ogres to look like. Obviously, they're not going to look anything like Shrek, so if that's what you're hoping for, now would be the time to stop holding your breath.
Why?
So to make these two little guys, first I'm going to start off by rolling some tin foil. I'm basically using foil for the inside, and then I'm going to build on top of that with polymer clay. That way it saves some clay. It's economical. I wasn't too concerned with having perfect little balls because I'll be wrapping them in clay anyway.
Si tu n'aimais pas, si tu n'aimais pas, je t'aimais. Mais si je t'aimais, si je t'aimais, prends garde de toi.
Here I'm adding some clay to make their chubby cheeks. They kinda look like mush puddles right now, but it's gonna make more sense in a second once I start adding some facial features and color. I'm using one of my trusty ball tools to make huge gaping eye sockets. Yes, their eyes are going to take up half their face. No, it wasn't an accident. I just like the way that looks. It looks almost cartoony in a way. I then moved on to sculpting their mouths. This guy is going to have a big open mouth, while the girl's going to have this like mischievous grin.
I already want to pinch you.
No, please.
I want their faces to look very expressive. I also booped on some tiny noses. For eyeballs, I want these ogres to have big, bulging eyes. I do think that looks really cool. The eyeballs are like popping out of their faces. I love working with clay, and well, I actually sculpted someone in a mug. You can't see it, it's a surprise.
Gosh, Looney, you're such a tease.
And this was like my favorite thing I've ever sculpted. I just loved him so much. He was looking so cute, but I had to give him away because he was meant to be a present. I really love how he turned out though, so I decided to sculpt some more mug characters. So the next thing I decided to do was give the boy teeth. Well, one tooth. I don't know, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
I also added an eyelid to him. There will be more eyelids to come later on. And I left a space for his tongue, which will also make an appearance later on. I didn't do things in order. I was kinda just jumping around all over the place. I guess I thrive in chaos. I decided that he kind of looked excited at this point, which is not quite what I want. So I'm pressing down his eyeballs a little bit to make him look a little scared of the girl. It's not that he doesn't like her, he's just kinda teasing her. It's his way of flirting. Or maybe he's trying to get away from her onion breath.
No more kissing until you find a toothbrush.
But I want to bite his face.
If you're new here and you don't have onion breath, you should consider selling your soul to me by subscribing to my channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon and select all so you don't lose me on the internet or miss any videos. I post new videos
every Friday.
So, moving on, I'm adding some rosy cheeks to the girl. I'm basing the girl ogre off of my girlfriend. You might notice a resemblance between this and the little doodle I drew of her on Instagram. Not that she looks anything like an ogre, that's not what I'm trying to say. I just gave her the same expression as the face my girlfriend always makes. I think the girl ogre looks pretty cute. My girlfriend thinks that she looks like the crazy stalker girlfriend meme though. I mean, sure.
I guess I can see that.
I'm sure the ogres would have no problem finding love though, seeing as a lot of you guys are very accepting. Baldo is apparently down to get weird in the swamp.
Whatever that means.
While Ivy claims that it's totally normal to find out that someone you love is an ogre. Sure. I'm just gonna smile and nod for this one. I don't have the heart to tell her. So anyways, I decided to put some beauty marks on the boy just because. So that's what that's supposed to be, in case you were confused. There's not really an order or method, I just stuck them on randomly. I felt like they gave him some character. Then I tried giving the boy a tongue, but I wasn't really liking the way it looked. Does it look like a tongue? I don't really know. Kinda looks like a frog. Not sure what I was thinking. It looked
Not good.
so I got rid of that. By the way, I'm using Sculpey clay for this instead of epoxy. So I will be putting them in the oven later, which is okay, because the mugs are actually oven safe. I figured since the guy has beauty marks, it's only fair to give the girl some of them too. At this point, I realized that the top of their heads were looking kind of empty. I gave the guys some horns, and I didn't want them to look bald, so I made some holes to add hair later on. I also added in some more eyelids to both of them. The girl's arms are stretched out. I wanted it to look like she's almost like chasing the guy, demanding more cuddles.
I just want to rip his face off.
I then went in and added some green goo and bubbles oozing out of the teacups. I'm just warning you in advance, this is going to look a little disorienting at first. It kinda starts looking like an octopus with several tentacles. It'll make more sense once it's painted though. Their arms kinda looked like blobs of meat at this point, so I decided to define them by sculpting some fingers, and then I did some touch-ups. Then I went in with some clay softener and smoothed everything out. I put them in the oven to bake, which actually turned out to be a disaster. The girl's arms broke off in the oven.
I guess I'll have to eat your arms.
There was a lot of resistance. The arms did not want to defy gravity. I tried fixing it and baking it again, but things just weren't working out. I could have pulled out the big guns and hot glued the arms together, but then there would be visible cracks, which I didn't want. In the end, I decided to use some epoxy sculpt to help hold the stuff together. So yeah, this is what it's come to. It won't be noticeable anyways once I start painting. So once the epoxy dried, I went and sanded everything down a little bit just to make sure it's looking nice and smooth. And now it's finally time to paint. So I'm starting off with a light minty pink color for the guy, like a seashell kind of pink, and for the girl I wanted her to be a pastel blue color. As you can see, I kinda did like a mix and match thing. That way they kinda contrast each other and their mugs, but still go together. For the slime, I went with a classic green color just all around the mug. They're either bathing in slime or boiling alive in a witch's cauldron. Or maybe it's swamp water. I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. I painted some accents on each in a dark pink and dark blue like the beauty marks. I really wanted those to stand out, bring out their inner beauty. This wasn't as easy as it looks, it was pretty hard getting in all the little crevices. I then went in with the same dark color for the eyelids. I definitely wanted to add something that's creepy but still fun and cute at the same time.
Creepy cute.
Well, that's always the goal. After that, I moved on to the mouth. Like I said earlier, both of them have very expressive faces. I left the guy's mouth open and kinda traumatized looking, almost like he's screaming, but like in a joking kind of way.
I just want to rip your arms
I need
off
my
and then
arms,
I eat
please.
them.
I also added some color to the girl's grin before moving on to paint the whites of their eyes. And I also painted the guy's little cute tongue. I did some other basic things like painting the nose and pupils black.
Oh yeah.
I made her rosy cheeks red at first, but they kinda looked like pimples, so I went back and lightened the color to pink later on. I wanted it to look like there's some slime splattered around their mouths, so that's what the green stuff is in case you were wondering. Which you probably weren't, but that's okay. I went back and painted the bubbles a light green. I really wanted to do something with bubbles for sure, so that's why I added some spots in the slime. I also added some shading around the bodies just to make it look a little more dynamic and like it's not just one solid color. Then I added some freckles on the girl with a dotting tool. I thought she needed something on her face, so that's why I added those. I really like how the freckles turned out. I think they look really cute. If you thought I wasn't gonna use Posca pens today, you're wrong. You should know me better by now. I did some highlights with the Posca pens, but I later went over them with white paint just to brighten them up, so I guess I really didn't need to use the Posca pens at all. But I did anyway, so that's that. For finishing touches, I just used some hot glue and yarn for the hair. I don't know if that's like the best way to do it or not, but you know, that's just the way I did it. And then, for some reason I can't explain, I don't know why, but I had the sudden urge to give the girl one of those JoJo Siwa bows. Except it looked nothing like one of those things, it looked more like a piece of candy. In my defense, I've never really owned a bow, so you can just ignore that part.
I'll fix it.
It took a long time and a lot of work, but here they are in all their ogre glory.
I love you so much I want to kill you.
I love you too. Please don't hurt me.
He lovingly calls her BooBoo, and she calls him Honey. Together, they are BooBoo and Honey, or Honey BooBoo, whichever you prefer.
If you want to see more clay monstrosities, click on the top left. If you yourself are a monstrosity, click on the bottom right.